Welcome everybody to Built on Faith Homestead, where we like to talk about things like tiny houses and growing your own food. We like to talk about wild edibles. We like to talk about raising animals. We like to talk about raising our children in the ways of the Lord, trying to serve the Lord ourselves. Today we're going to show you a little garden update, potato tower update, raised herb bed update. And we'll show you guys kind of what we got going on today. So if you want to come along with us, come along. So as you can see, we are starting to get a few potato plants I just noticed them in the last day or two, starting to come and pop out. There's one here, there's another one right there. Well, the lighting's not very good. We might look at the other side. But several plants actually doing what we were hopeful they would do. They're starting to grow outside of the potato tower, and it's hard to tell on this phone, but I can see several little ones getting ready to pop out too. So they're kind of just now starting to pop through there, but it does seem to be working. Now I know I'm pretty simple, but if we got potato plants coming, we'll probably get potatoes. Maybe not a bunch, but we're getting somewhere. Let's show you the raised bed little gardens. This one grew absolutely nothing. We had some flowers in there that Luella had in there, but that late frost got them. And so we're going to replant some different herbs in there. This one, these herbs are doing fantastic. Great for cold weather. Planted way too dense because me and Luella did it together, and it just kind of is what it is. And if you're asking to yourself, man, Justin, I sure would like to know what herb that is, I'm going to tell you this, I would too. I forgot what it is that we planted in here. I don't remember at all. I don't know if I could pick a little bit of it now and smell it. We'll try it. I don't know what kind of herb that was at all. I don't know if I can pull a little bit of it, maybe rub it together, smell it. Maybe I can tell. Maybe. I don't know. My sniffer don't work very good. We'll try it and see. Boy, I don't know. I don't have any idea. Anyhow, whatever it is, it's growing fantastic, and we'll just let it continue to grow, and surely we'll figure it out in the long run. But I'm going to plant some dill and that other one over there, let them grow, and then we're going to start in on some of the early stuff. I showed you guys disc in the garden. That was yesterday's video. We will show you, well, it won't be yesterday when you're seeing this. It'll be a couple days ago. Different way to plow the garden if you want to see that video. The ground was still really wet. It's still pretty wet, but it's dry enough. I think I can make it work. So we'll kind of show you guys what we got going on. Here it is, right? So I have reworked it a little bit again this morning. After it dried out some, it's loose enough that we'll make it work. It's not perfect, but it rarely is. If I had another couple of days to let it dry out, we probably would really be in the business. But I don't have a couple of days. They're calling for rain for like a week straight now. So we'll do what we can to get some of our early stuff in. Onions, radishes. I don't even have lettuce in. One tip I'm going to give you that we are doing is on most of, not all of it, but on some of our late stuff, our early stuff, our radishes and all that, they also grow great in the fall and winter time. Fall, beginning of winter. And so I'm going to plant half now, and then we'll plant half later. And that should, if we have an issue, I know we're late getting some of this stuff out, but if we have an issue with it growing, it should take back off. We should be able to replant some in the fall if something goes wrong in this planting. And so I like to do that with beans too. I'll only plant half of our beans now, and I'll wait and plant the other half later. It just builds in a little bit of safety there for you on plants. So I got work to do. I can't work and hold this phone at the same time and record. So let me get to work, and then we'll show you what we did. All right, everybody. We will kind of show you what we have done now. I didn't really record the seed planting process. Most seed packets will tell you on the back of them how to plant them, how deep to plant them, how far apart to space them. If they don't, it's pretty easily looked up on your phone. It's not real complicated, but I do want to show you not necessarily planting the seed itself, but kind of our general, what we do in our garden and what I've done for the past couple years that I really like. What we have are some raised up rows here. As you can see right up here is a hump of dirt. And I do that for a few reasons. A, this spot down here stays incredibly wet for long periods of time, and I'm worried about drowning out my garden. And so I'm raising my seed level up from the regular ground level. B, we have children. We have a 2-year-old just about and a 5-year-old. They'll know exactly where to walk by walking in the lower part. I don't have to say watch out for the plants and all this stuff, just tell them to stay in the lower part. Also, this walkway right through here that's provided by these 2 mounds being on both sides, these raised rows being on both sides, provides a good place where I can pull weeds and then throw them down where I walk, where I can trample them down. If you have a walk behind tiller, you can plant these rows or put these rows about as wide as your tiller. Then you can just throw your weeds down in the middle and then till them in between your raised up rows. Also, these little areas will get packed in between the rows, and they will hold water kind of on top a little, almost like a little pond, but not quite. And that water will wick through this looser top dirt and help draw some of that moisture up. Also, in our area in Missouri, we have a lot of clay. And so this helps your plants that are rooting, like turnips or beets, radishes, those kinds of things. Planting this way helps them have some looser dirt, some dirt that doesn't get as packed in to be able to grow onions, those kinds of things. It's more work, there's no doubt about that. So all I do is take my big size 14, a rock rake works better, but we didn't have one, I haven't moved it here yet. But a size 14 boot works pretty good. And as you can tell, those rows weren't perfectly straight. I always heard you can put more plants in a crooked row, as a joke. I just used my size 14 boot, go ahead and get it all mounded up. And then what I did was I throwed my rabbit manure on top of those mounds, and then they were still pretty chunky dirt because of the wet soil. The soil is still pretty wet, and so I would throw the rabbit manure on top of that chunky soil, and then I would go through with the shovel on top of that mound and just pound that dirt down to break it up good and to mix in that manure. By the time all that was done, that created a fairly powdery dirt for me to work in. And then I planted the seed, depending on what kind of seed. So like my turnip seed or my radish seed, I went ahead and after I hit it with the shovel a few times, after I come down the row, right, broke it all up with the shovel, I went ahead and scattered my seed right on top of that flattened out row, and then I used my boot and just really lightly, just barely kind of pressed, not all of my weight, just a real light pressing down to make sure that seed's making good contact. They are calling for rain in a couple of days, but if you have children especially, doing these raised rows like this works great. If your garden area is in an area where it's prone to hold a lot of water, this works great. It keeps it from flooding. And you might be thinking, what if it droughts? Well, we have a well here. I can water this garden if I need to, but I can't take water back out if it gets overly watered by too much rainfall, right? But I can add water through that well if I have to. So there's pros and cons to everything, especially the kids, though, is why I really started doing this a couple years ago at our old house, and it works fantastic. And then I kept finding other reasons why after doing it, like I said, for pulling weeds and all of that. And our plants seem to do very well in this type of environment. There are things I don't do this way still. There'll be things that I might try this way that I've never tried before, like I've never done my green beans like this. But I may do our green beans this way this year just to try it, to see how it works for them, at least here in the spring. And if I don't like it, then in the fall, when I do my fall beans, I'll do them the way that I've always done them. But it's just something that you can do. Went ahead and planted dill in the raised bed over here. So it don't look like much now, but there's dill seed in there. And then once again, our potato tower is finally starting a little bit to do its thing and grow how we were hoping that it would. So guys, I didn't show you much of the process because, like I said, planting the seeds is fairly self-explanatory. After seeing the row, surely you can make something like that if that's something that you desire to do. I recommend using a rock rake. It just works better. Rake your mounds up like that into a row, and then I flip the rake over where the spiky side's pointing up and drag the flat part of the rake across the top to flatten out the top so it's not a peak. If that row's a peak, it ain't going to work nearly as well, right? You want to flatten that top raised row up, but it kind of gives you the benefits of not needing so much dirt for a raised bed garden, but it still gives you some of the benefits of a raised bed garden. Guys, thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, if you want to see more videos to help you prepare for the days that are ahead, if you want us to see more videos, if you're just interested in doing some things an old-timey type way or something like that, please like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll bring you guys along on our adventures. Thank you guys for watching.